We come to the next one in the Pilates Qigong mix. This one's called Embracing the Moon. There's a lot of moons, names and that, slightly different. In Chinese culture, the full moon has a significance of good fortune, and the 15th of the 8th month is when the moon comes to its full glory. So that's sort of celebration of that, the culture. But again, a little bit of history there. So, embracing the moon. So we're taking the movement of Qigong and just putting it in a Pilates setup, basically, with the breathing. The opposite breathing what we'll be doing in the traditional Qigong. I will do other ones with the traditional Qigong breathing, but this one we're going to go for the Pilates breathing, again, because it's just movement. So, basically the movement. I'll go into the movement in a minute. Again, you're just basically, it's up to you how deep you go in. You're having you're coming from this position, sort of horse riding stance, and you're coming to here. Then you're coming to here, with the shoulders down here. 4 different points, and then you're coming back. So again, it's a bit like the spinning wheel, but a lot more stop and start. So we're going to use the stop and start Pilates. Before we link it to breath, before we link it to motion even, in a sort of breath synchronized movement manner, vinyasa, we get the breathing. So let's start in Qigong Posture to start with, nice natural posture. And while we're here, we're going to simply zip up pelvic floor and scoop out your abdominals right now, and simply breathe in through the nose while you're doing that, and exhale through pursed lips. As you do the opposite, the traditional way, normally breathing the belly like a balloon, we're tucking in the belly button, zipping up pelvic floor, scooping out your abdominals. Them muscles go together, which I'll go into detail in a minute, okay, but they go together. You can't do one without the other. But again, for this purpose, we're consciously zipping up pelvic floor and scooping out our abdominals, okay? Again, the only way to explain the pelvic floor is your long journey. You want to go to the toilet, you stop yourself going, that's your pelvic floor. The corset muscle, the transverse abdominis, is 3 layers deep, wrap around our spine. The way we get that is by tucking in our belly button. So, right now, as you zip up pelvic floor and scoop out your abdominals, be safe in the knowledge that's happening. As you breathe in through the nose, whenever you like, and exhale through pursed lips as you're still zipping up pelvic floor and scooping out your abdominals. Following the journey all the way in through the nose, whenever you like, and all the way out through pursed lips. So you're sort of blowing out a candle through pursed lips. Lovely. Just simply allow that simplicity to relax the mind at will as you, right now, zip up pelvic floor and scoop out your abdominals, and at your pace, keep on breathing through the nose and exhaling through pursed lips. Lovely. And again, as you're doing that, you'll feel that breath right now as you do that, zipping up pelvic floor and scooping out your abdominals. Simply breathing in through the nose and exhaling through pursed lips. As you're doing that right now, you'll feel that breath go anywhere but our belly buttons, but into these lower lobes of lungs, intercostals, the ribs, anywhere but the stomach. Because right now, as you do that, there's nowhere else the breath to go right now, apart from into these lower lobes of lungs, intercostals, the ribs, anywhere but your stomach. Okay, so just to reinforce that in our minds that that's happening, because there's nowhere else the breath to go, as you zip up pelvic floor and scoop out your abdominals, we get these 2 middle fingers touching underneath the breastbone, what we call the xiphoid process, the sternum, the breastbone, palms on the lower lobes of lungs, these 2 middle fingers touching, shoulders are down, okay? Again, they will try and come in, so just drop them down. As you zip up pelvic floor and scoop out your abdominals right now, you just carry on doing what you're doing, breathing in through the nose, and exhaling through pursed lips. And you'll see them 2 middle fingers slightly parting and coming back to touch each other. Just adding width to your lungs and length to the out breath. You'll see that breath manifests anywhere but the belly button, but in these lower lobes of lungs. Again, you'll feel the fingers just moving like seaweed on the bottom of the seabed to the sides and back. It might be a millimetre or a centimetre, it doesn't matter. You'll feel that movement. Them fingers are moving right now as you breathe, like seaweed on the bottom of the seabed to the sides and back as you zip up pelvic floor and scoop out your abdominals, and allow that simplicity just to relax the mind as you breathe in through the nose and exhale through pursed lips. Further reinforce that that's happening by these hands here. Okay. Keep breathing to that accordion the ribs, organ deep, cell deep, even bone marrow deep right now. Keep breathing into them lower lobes of the lungs, intercostals, the ribs, anywhere but your stomach. Okay. So someone's opening an umbrella inside your rib cage and letting go, or someone's just pushing out from inside your ribs and letting go. That lovely, free, expansive breath. Lovely. Even imagine someone's wrapped a scarf around your ribs and you breathe into that scarf wide and full. It's what we call lateral thoracic breathing in Pilates. Helps us use our pelvic floor and our corset muscle, the powerhouse, the girdle of strength, 3 layers deep. That supports the spine. They're helping us breathe right now, anywhere but our belly buttons, but keep breathing in to them lower lobes of lungs, the intercostals, the ribs, anywhere but the stomach. Lovely. You can take them hands down now, and again, as you're doing that right now, we're going to get a little bit of awareness of what's going on in there. So these thumbs here from the hips come round, just to let you know where that B line is, bikini line, belt line, we're going to call that. Thumbs are here, they come round, okay? And again, below that B line, you've got the pelvic floor. Above that, you've got the corset muscle, the transverse abdominis, 3 layers deep, linking on like cling film to this pelvic floor, lower. So they go together. If you breathe in whenever you like and cough, you'll feel that happen. As you do that, your corset throws on and your pelvic floor go together, okay? If you breathe in whenever you like, it's the same as if you, as you exhale, that really helps you throw on that corset and zip up pelvic floor. It's like a cough or sneeze, and actually helps you zip up pelvic floor and scoop out your abdominals. Take your navel towards the spine, support your spine. As you take the hands away, you have that further awareness of what's going on in there. It's not necessary, but by knowing the muscles are there, will help you use them in the correct fashion. Sometimes it'll be a bit like an amnesia, not too sure where they are. You won't always be able to use them in the correct fashion. But if you know they're there, it further helps you use them in the correct fashion. Lovely. As you zip up pelvic floor and scoop out your abdominals, that further awareness of what's going on in there. Keep breathing in through the nose still and exhaling through pursed lips whenever you like. Okay, and again, that corset 3 layers deep is wrapping around our spine to support our spine. So that's the Pilates breath to support the spine, what we call lateral thoracic breathing. Okay, so we're just going to add that to the Qigong motion. So again, I will say, as with all of them, I'm going to add the Pilates modifications, because that is what Pilates is, in a word. If you want to stand up tall and do it, that's fine. If you want to go down deep, you can go down deep. I'll demonstrate that back there so you can see the feet. You can go out wide in horse riding stance. I would keep the Iyengar yoga principles of going no lower than your knees in line with toes. Okay, if you do want to go deeper still, stick your tailbone out and go deeper, but I'd still go no lower than knees in line with toes. Okay, so again, I'm going to go back and demonstrate from here. I'll do it more up and then I'll go into if you just want to go lower. Generally, it's done in a horse riding stance here, the feet slightly out in a V, but they're not Charlie Chaplin, they're just slightly out in a V, not completely to the front, slightly out there. If you want to go for the first one, the modification, we take the feet just a little bit wider than hip width apart. Again, same deal, just facing the front comfortably, not over reinforced. And again, you can go down this deep. If you want to go deeper, you can stick the tailbone out, but I would go no deeper than knees in line with toes. Remember, it can be a centimetre, a millimetre or a foot. It's as low that suits you. If you want to go to the usual Qigong posture, because because we're modifying it for Pilates. Okay, it doesn't always have modifications. A lot of these ancient forms, you modify it. Remember, it's your union of your mind and body, no one else's. If you do want to go for this one though, you come out wider, like I said, a slight V with the feet, and again it'll be only as low as your knees and lower toes. If you do want to go deeper, stick the tailbone out. If you want to go wide, fine. If you've got no worries there, fine. But basically only go as deep as you like. So we start the breathing again. We zip up pelvic floor and scoop out your abdominals. Breathing in through the nose and exhaling through pursed lips. Now, as we do this, there's a few different motions. So we're going to use the stop and start Pilates breath. We're going to breathe into the pair whenever you like. From here, wherever you are, we're going to exhale to one side here. Watch these shoulders, they will try and come in. Okay, very overactive in the upper traps. So again, watch these shoulders, keep them down, lengthen up for the crown. Then you breathe in when you're ready. And we move on the exhale here. Watch these shoulders, drop them down. Okay, whenever you're ready, you want to do a few breaths there, feel free. Imagine the elbows are dropping down, so they're floating on water here. Okay, you breathe in whenever you like, and exhale. Here we turn. Imagine there's a sort of skewer going through your head, and you turn off that skewer. Watch these shoulders. If you want to check them every time, you can do. Again, have a few breaths there. You breathe in, stop, and then you exhale here. Then you go back round the other way. So basically, you're moving on the exhale. Okay. So again, you breathe in to prepare when you're ready. Then you exhale. Initiate the move on the exhale. Okay. Shoulders down, lengthen up for the crown. Okay. Take a few breaths there, and now the elbows to drop. Everything loose, nice and relaxed. Again, you can be up here or down here, okay? You can be wider with the feet or shorter, see what suits you. Okay, you breathe in when you're ready to prepare. Then you exhale to centre, here. Lengthen up for the crown, shoulders down. Imagine that trickle of water just run down your back and dispersing. Amount of shoulders over hips, head over shoulders. That lovely soft V between the shoulders. Keeping the shoulders over hips, head over shoulders. Then you breathe in to prepare when you're ready. And you initiate the move on the exhale through pursed lips. Lovely. Check them shoulders each time. I overemphasise that because they will try and take over the way we live today. Then you breathe into prepare and you exhale up here. Okay, gazes forward, shoulders down. Okay, you can do this sort of stuff looking up. If you've got any problems with the neck, I wouldn't hyperextend the neck. You can look up for the eyebrows. And again, even look up through here, the third eye. Again, there's a lot of stuff with that, which will go more traditionally in later on. But again, shoulders down, lengthen up for the crown. Breathing in, exhaling a few breaths here as we gather in, zip up and hollow, navel towards the spine. All that lymph drainage from the hands down in towards the heart. And you breathe into prepare and you exhale. Turn off that little skewer through your head. And then you breathe into prepare, exhale. And you carry that on in a breath synchronized manner. Just take a few breaths there, breathe into prepare when you're ready to go, then exhale, move. Okay, like I say, you can be up high, standing, down in a squat position, or down deep with the legs wide. If you want to have a little stretch in that, you can go wider, and you can just come to here, stretching these hip flexors, optional. Okay, again, if you're a bit, sometimes when you're jamming on the knee there, you can just have a little turn with a foot shift. Make it a little bit easier on your knees, that turning motion. Near enough like a Rudradasana out of yoga, but again, you turn in here, and you can always take your time. You can come back, or I would turn on the heel and come back, the old cHi way of turning, coming back there. Okay, again, if you want to have it a little bit wider, get the stretch in these adductors, the inner groins there, you can do, okay, but again, gather in, zip up and hollow. You can't go wrong. See what suits you, adapt it to you. Remember, it's your union of your mind and body, no one else's. Okay, so only make this as easy or as hard as you like. Again, if it gets too hard up there, because again, this can get quite hard holding there, just do a few breaths, then go again. And just, again, doesn't have to achieve anything, it's just the fact you're breathing. If you feel good with the breathing, then do it. Okay, like I say, a lot of these Qigong ones go into the meridians, etc. Great I'll probably do that on another. I have done that on other ones, but on this I'm just doing a Pilates mix, Pilates and Qigong mix, because the movements are so good with Qigong. Calibrate, synchronise the breath and the motion, integrate the breath and the movement. Again, if you want to just take hands down and rest and then go back in, feel free. Again, that's the end of that. Pilates Qigong mix, embracing the moon. Bang.